How successful you are in any part of life is based on what? Well, the average person typically believes that it's based on what you do, such as your job or the actions you take. And some would say skills and talents. However, the most successful people in any and all areas of life and business, they credit their success first and foremost to their thoughts, their mindset, their inner game. It's based on how and what we consistently think. So if you want to learn to recognize the most common beliefs you have that slow or stop your efforts to get ahead in life, join us on today's Life Design podcast as we discuss limiting belief number 1 from my book, Improve Your Thoughts, Improve Your Life.
If you haven't already done so, please subscribe now so you can join us on every episode. We truly appreciate it. And be sure to engage in the comments section of your favorite platform for your chance to be invited as a guest on one of our episodes.
Hello, you amazing listeners. Welcome back to the Life Design Podcast, your number one place to discuss and improve all aspects of your life with a growth mindset. Today's topic is limiting belief number 1 from my book, Improve Your Thoughts, Improve Your Life. And it brings to light the stark difference in how the average person thinks about success, in contrast to how the most successful people on the planet think about it. You don't have to be a scholar to understand the truth in biblical scripture when it says that we're made in the image of the creator of all things. And it's not referencing our visual appearance, but it's referencing what we're made of or who we are at our core, which is energy and which is creators. You think about that. Thoughts are the first creative step in creation, in any creation. Okay, they're still at the energetic level, but energetic creations, meaning thoughts, produce physical creations. And those physical creations produce our physical reality. And if you're already thinking that this sounds crazy, well, get used to it because we've got a lot of work to do. So let me explain it this way. There are thousands of talented people in just about any vocation that you could think of who never gain high levels or superior levels of success, and many of whom never even gain the levels that they personally aspire for. This in and of itself proves that it's neither talent nor skill that truly makes the difference. The fact that these very talented people never really hit substantial levels of success, yet other people who, quite frankly, aren't very good at what they do, many have attained the highest levels of success, far beyond what they had planned for or thought they would accomplish, but within their industries and from a societal standpoint, from a popularity standpoint. And the interesting thing is that some of these people, they work or play for the same teams, the same companies, the same organizations. Now, I'm not going to mention any names, but let's think about some examples. What about movie stars? How many movie stars do we know that are truly popular, that are some of the biggest names in the industry, that aren't necessarily the best actors or actresses that we've seen? We compare them to some of the people that play in what we would consider some of the B roles or C roles even, who are amazing actors and actresses, but they don't get the big parts. And a lot of people will say, well, it's who they know. Of course, that's part of it. But what controls how we go out and network and build relationships? It's the inner game. It's our mindset. It's how we think about taking those steps. Musicians. Every one of us knows musicians that are extremely successful in the industry that, quite frankly, aren't very good musicians. I'm not going to say they're not good at what they do. I'm talking about they're not elite level musicians. And a lot of people think about that more in the rock and roll or the hip hop side and say, well, they're not as good of musicians as, maybe someone that's in the classical music realm or something to that effect. Yet I know a lot of those musicians on the rock and hip hop side got their start on the classical side, or they're heavily influenced and they trained in that to get good at music. But I also know a lot of the musicians that are out there, with world tours and making millions that are nowhere near as good at singers or musicians as far as playing instruments and such, writing music. They're nowhere near as good as some of the people that I know that play in their living room or in really small venues, with a local band. Another good example of these, one of the best, are political figures. Again, I said I'm not going to mention any names, but let's be honest. I don't care if it's here in the US or across the world. Many of the top political figures at this moment, 2023, 2024, that are running countries are some of the worst political figures we've ever seen, with some of the most horrible records over, years or decades of what's supposed to be service to their countries. Yet some of the less advanced political figures, some of the people that hold smaller positions, are incredible politicians who truly commit themselves to serving the people. It's all in the mindset of how they choose to play the game or not play the game. It starts with that inner game that they either hold firm to, their values and such, or they change their mindset and they begin to play the game. And I get it. You got to play the game in some way, shape, or form, especially to move up the ladder. But there are limits. There are ways to go about it. And yes, I have some first hand experience, or not experience, relationships with some people in the lower levels of politics I have had over the years. And they're there because they don't have the mindset to strive for those more advanced positions. So it really does boil down to that inner game. And when we think about that takes place, I don't care if it's your personal relationship, if it's your career, if it's your health, it doesn't matter what it is. It's not the talents or the skill sets or the specific job or whatever else on the outside world that makes the biggest difference. Does it make a difference? Of course. You're not going to become a famous musician if you literally can't play an instrument, can't sing a song at all. It's can't dance, can't do something. But it's the mindset that makes the difference for people that are good at what they do and want to become great or exceptional. So what is the key that we can focus on this? It is what we were just sharing, that it doesn't really matter whether it's in business or relationships, health and wellness, education, or anything else. It's always the same pattern. If you were to stop and ask or interview, say 1,000 of the most successful, I'm going to say self-made individuals about their lives, every one of them would tell you that their journey took them through, just insane struggles, right? Day after day, for weeks, for months, most of them for many years. But then one day something clicked. It's just almost instantaneous. Some simple and seemingly insignificant change happened in how they think about maybe a particular item or a subject or a process. and everything came together, almost like magic. And the one thing that they would all have in common is the fact that the change or the shift, it occurred shortly after the change in their thinking, in their mindset did. Okay, this is the reason why books like Improve Your Thoughts, Improve Your Life have been some of the highest rated and best-selling books of all time. Okay, books like Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, The Power of Positive Thinking, Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, or How Successful People Think by John Maxwell. These are incredibly powerful books. They're filled with life-changing information. And they're meant to help other people, the readers, maximize themselves as people and maximize their lives. So what is the shift that we can intentionally do to help this out, to move this forward? It's mastering our thoughts. Okay? Of course, we want to master emotions, and there are skill sets that we do want to get in the outside world. But first and foremost, we want to master our thoughts. It's such a simple yet universal law that anyone can use to improve their lives and even the lives of other people. The awesome thing about it is that if you practice working on your thoughts and your mindset and doing it correctly on a consistent basis, because consistency is a huge key in this. If you do that, it can't fail. Working on the inside cannot fail you at moving things further ahead in the outside world. Every thought that you hold on to and you focus on, and you do it with purpose and with passion and with, creating a vision where you can see and smell and hear and feel the feelings as if those thoughts were your real world, physical world experience. When you learn to do that, those things not only can change your life, they will affect the outcome of your future. Okay, whether it be positive or negative, whichever way you're holding on to them and thinking about them, they will affect the future, your future. And matter of fact, this fact is so universal and it's so important and powerful. I actually wrote a second book on it. Okay, because it's truly a life-altering subject. And the book is Rewire Your Mind, Thinking Positively and Living Powerfully. And I had initially intended to release it back in early 2023 at over 300 pages, but I actually postponed it. I postponed the release so I could condense that to fit within my 150 pages or less series, just like Improve Your Thoughts, Improve Your Life is. But in the end, I chose to do something special with it, something unique. It was my mindset on what I wanted the book to represent. It wasn't the book was done. Well, it was almost. Needed some editing. But in my mind, in my soul, in my heart, I wanted it to mean something more for people. I wanted to find a way to make it stand out from all the rest of the books that were out there. I did that with Improve Your Thoughts, Improve Your Life. It's not written like a normal book. It is 70, I won't say pages because some of them take 2, maybe 3 pages, but 70 tips or lessons or what I call limiting beliefs, comparisons. Here's an average belief that limits us. Here's a successful belief that can move us forward if we learn to take on that new perspective, that new mindset. So what I did with the new book is I brought in some help to refine the book, okay, even more. And now it's going to be released as my first book in a new series titled In 35 Pages or Less. So why would I do that? I'm leaving zero excuses for people not to read this book. It's 35 pages. You get 30 years of working with clients and mentors and experts condensed into 300 pages and then recondensed all the way down to 35 pages. Again, it had nothing to do with my skills, my talents. I don't even claim to be the best writer, but I've read hundreds of books and I know what I want to get out of them. And I believe that other people, even though we love stories, we don't want to spend our time with a lot of fluff. We want something to make sense to us. We want it to be clear. We want it to be concise. And we want it to be actionable. We want to be able to take what we learn, what we read, what we see or hear, and actually implement it into our own life. And that's why I created this podcast. It's why I do certain videos. It's why I try to train and write books in the way that I do. Does that mean there isn't a lot of information that comes out? Of course there is, because there's a lot of variables that come into all this. Engagement is one of them. So I'm hoping we get that you choose to engage on this topic. I'm hoping you choose to engage, and if you don't already have the book, to grab a copy. I'm not selling them expensive. I'm not trying to make a killing on them. I want to deliver this information. That's why I'm doing it for free in this series now on the podcast. I'm going to walk through all 70 of these belief comparisons on the podcast. Granted, that's going to take months to get through, but it's an option that I'm offering to walk people through this information. So tell me, share in the comments on any of our platforms. I want you to think about this as much as anything. When you think about the number one factor in taking your life to that next level, or in succeeding in any area of life that's important to you, do you or have you thought of success from an average perspective? What we just shared is an average perspective. Success is based on what we do. Or did you think about it from a more successful mindset? Understanding that it's the inner game, it's the mindset, it's the belief systems. Because those are what dictate how we take those action steps, how we commit to our work, our job, our career, our relationships, and to our own growth, personal development, as many would say. Okay. Again, this is the first of 70 beliefs that I compare in my book, Improve Your Thoughts, Improve Your Life. And I'll be covering each of the additional 69 here on the Life Design podcast, along with hundreds of other life-changing topics. Be sure to follow. Be sure to subscribe and like and share, depending upon the on YouTube. Ring the bell, and join us on every episode. Right now we have Mondays and Wednesdays. I do plan to expand on that and to begin doing podcasts more often, more days of the week. But you can find it on Spotify, on YouTube, on Apple or iHeart. And actually the links to the book, Improve Your Thoughts, Improve Your Life, and to the podcast are both in the description. So please be sure to engage with us, okay, on any platform. And if you'd like to join me as a guest on the podcast, please reach out and let me know that as well. What topics, interest you, or what areas of expertise you have. Or, again, you're the listeners. I want to engage with you, not just, experts out in the field per se. I want to have real conversation that's meaningful, powerful, actionable, and that makes a difference in your life. So if you want to be part of that, please feel free, reach out and let me know. I look forward to engaging with you. I look forward to meeting many of you soon. And until then, live awesome and enjoy your journey.